Yes, people, what is good? It is your boy A Dazzle, and we're here again for Wrestle Extra. We are at number 6, Wrestle Extra. We are on YouTube. We are now on Affinity Extra, the gospel radio station based in the UK. We're here, and as always, can't be done without him. My boy, the WrestleManiac himself, Mex. Bro, what's going on? What's good?
Mate, technology tried to keep me from joining you today, but you know what? I told the devil no. I got to be here for Wrestle Extra, so ready to go, ready to give my opinions as always.
Let's get into it right away. Bro, you know what? Let's kick off a different way today.
Okay.
We usually start off with WWE, but let's kick off with AEW because they had their big event All Out on Saturday evening. The number one pay-per-view for them of the year. How did you find it?
Quick question: would you call All Out like their WrestleMania equivalent? Obviously, let's say crowds were there or not. I always get confused.
I think
is it All Out or is it Double or Nothing?
I think it's All Out. I'm sure it's All Out, bro.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. How did you find it?
I did expect more. It was a good show.
Okay.
I did expect more. I think for quite a lot of people, it was marred by the Matt Hardy incident. But I think generally it was a pretty decent show. I would have liked to maybe seen a bit of things reshuffled in terms of where they were on the card, which kind of would have made it build up, and you would have been quite happy by the end of it.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think they've done a good job, and for first year in business, like we were just touching on last week, it's been a terrific year for them. So really had a decent kind of punctuation mark for the year.
Yeah. I didn't watch the show from start to finish. I've seen the highlights and I know most of the things that happened. And I've seen certain opinions and stuff like that. And people kind of had I think it was a bit of a mixed bag. Of reaction in terms of how good it was, what should have happened, all that kind of stuff. I think in terms of results, a lot of them were what I expected them to be.
Yeah.
No real surprises for me, at least. Very happy to see Swole win. The match itself was okay. I'm personally not too much a fan of the cinematic matches, so
okay.
I don't necessarily have too much of an opinion. I don't want to go in on that.
Yeah.
But again, glad she picked up the win. I wasn't too sure whether she was or not.
Yeah, same.
I definitely wasn't sure what was going to happen with that. So glad she's got that. I do want to see that carry on because I still want to see them have a wrestling match. I really still want to see them have a wrestling match. So I want to see that carry on. Everything else was as we expected. FTR, new tag team champions, making history as the first to hold all the WWE tag team championships.
Everything.
And AEW now.
Them man are chasing down everything. They're going to go to New Japan and pick up them IWGP ones and all. I'm waiting for it.
Listen, that's going to happen in the next few years. I expect that to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Once all the travel stuff gets lifted, they're off to Japan to get those.
They're getting that. Yeah, they fit that whole thing as well anyway. So that would make a lot of sense. And I'd be happy to see that as well. Very, very happy to see that.
Yeah.
Moxley retained as well against MJF.
I think just on Moxley quickly, I think that's one of the better title defenses he's had in a while. I think that might even be his best match since maybe he won it against Chris Jericho.
Right.
Since Jericho, I think this is probably his best match since.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Yeah.
Darby Allin one was good, but yeah, I think
we saw the brutal badass that he's portraying to be. So I think that was great. MJF did his thing. He showed up.
Guy's gonna be a star.
He is. Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. I think it's kind of slowed down a little, but at the same time, we can still see that great potential is there, and there's work to be done with him, which is still good to see. Thunder Rosa didn't win, of course. Hikaru Shida retained. It was a good match.
Yeah.
It was it was a fair match. I think those two were great. If I'm
Her
honest.
stock has risen a lot, Thunder Rosa, in the last two appearances on AEW TV.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, whether they're having some kind of partnership with NWA or not, or I think NWA have got problems kind of broadcasting right now, so they might as well just keep her on Dynamite, just keep her looking good, because definitely a
Bro,
move in the right direction for the women's division.
I saw a picture from backstage, and it was Thunder Rosa, Ivelisse,
The
Diamante,
Latinas.
and Tay Conti. Make
Yeah,
it
I saw
happen.
that. I
Make
saw
it
that.
happen. That would be amazing to see an all Latina faction. It probably won't, because we've kind of already seen Tay Conti kind of siding with Anna Jay
In the Dark Order
and
stuff.
Dark Order. Yeah. So we may not see it happen, but it would be amazing to. It would be definitely amazing to see. Moving on to WWE. A great thing happened. Two great things happened. I'm happy. I'm a happy guy right now. I'm very happy right now. So we've seen Cedric Alexander is now part of the Hurt Business. It happened last night on Raw.
Yeah.
It happened kind of in a shocking way, in terms of kind of out of nowhere. There was no real, in terms of the night, there was no real build up to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it still worked for me. And now I think the Hurt Business is kind of like the complete package, bro. I feel it's the complete package, and I'm just like, I'm rubbing my hands to see what happens next.
Mate, I was saying to the Wrestlings boys, shout out to them. I was saying to them that,
man.
look, give Hurt Business all the gold. Give them all the gold. I would like to see a woman join them, just to be that figure.
True.
Ideally, Bianca Belair, but I know she's kind of entangled with the Street Profit stuff. So my second suggestion would be actually Vanessa Bourne. I think she could make, instead of her making a mediocre debut, hopefully not with the Retribution, but just a general
Right.
mediocre debut, let her join what is forming to be a dominant kind of faction. She can be the first lady sort of thing, and they can just, same way MVP has basically been guiding everyone through this kind of story, he can kind of give her some purpose. And I think with her attitude, I think we've seen a bit of her kind of sassy attitude in the past on NXT. Like, it could probably work very well with what Hurt Business are doing. Not that she would necessarily be propelled straight to like the top of the women's division and be given title shots, but I think they could not that they need it, but it would definitely be interesting to see a female figure inside that collective.
Yeah. I think it would be a nice dynamic, to be honest. Vanessa Bourne would kind of fit that bill nicely, to be honest. Yeah, she's got the right type of tenacity, aggression, look to her.
I definitely think it's the attitude and the sass fits in with them, man. Definitely.
For sure. I mean, if it was anyone you could pick, just any female you could pick, I think Zelina Vega would be absolutely perfect.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect pick.
Would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
We're not going to see that happen, of course, but that would be amazing. But going back to the now members, it's 4 guys. If you were to pick a new Nation of Domination, and I don't want them to go down that route. I don't want it to be this, Nation of Domination kind of 2.0. I don't want that at all. I want it just to be, a great faction with black wrestlers. But in terms of the attributes of each person and what they bring to the group, I think it's literally perfection, bro. You've got MVP, who is, the father of the group, really, the leader, the experienced man, the businessman, all that kind of stuff, running the show, knows what he's doing. As we keep saying, as I say every single week, he's doing the Lord's work.
Definitely.
And it continues. Then you've got Bobby Lashley, who is the muscle, the big man, the hothead. He's there doing everything. He's winning titles, all that kind of stuff. You've got Shelton, who's kind of another experienced guy, but he's kind of like the balance. He's kind of like the in-between of everyone. So he's got a bit of everything. And then obviously you've now got Cedric Alexander, who is the young, brash, quick guy. and yeah, man, as I said, I think the balance is just perfection, bro. I don't know. Again, we watch WWE, so I don't know where it's gonna go, how it's gonna go. I don't want to make all these predictions like it's me running things.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But the possibilities are endless.
I
Where do
was
you see it
looking at
going?
them. I was looking at them and kind of trying to shape them up with other factions of that ilk. And I think, even with your description, evolution came to mind. And I was thinking, are they gonna
Yep.
maybe take
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander down the Randy Orton
Right.
way of things? You know, he's gonna be the guy that holds the mid card championship, and eventually, you know, be elevated into a possible world champion kind of contender. I think we are still a long way off something like that, but yeah, I mean, MVP's putting these select people in these positions for certain reasons, so it'll be interesting, and it's kind of interesting why they've chosen Cedric Alexander as opposed to, obviously they had the long going back and forth with Apollo Crews, and that never came to anything. And then they kind of moved on to Cedric Alexander. So do you have any kind of thinking behind why maybe him?
I was gonna ask you the same question. I guess there was you could still, as well, as much as it never really happened or was implied, you could still have had Ricochet as well, because obviously he's been in the mix and stuff like that. But I think with Cedric, he has a more natural aggression than Apollo does. For one, I think he's just a bit more of a natural heel
Okay, that's fair.
than the other two. I think so, for definite. I think if nothing else, it's that alone. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. They're all very very similar. Obviously, their styles are slightly different, but they're all very very similar in their ways. They're young, they're quick, they're cruiserweights. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, in their
yeah.
essence, and all that sort of thing. But yeah, Cedric just has a little bit more of a natural aggression to him than Ricochet and Apollo do.
I think anyone that was willing to listen to me, I think I was telling them that it was going to be Ricochet. I was so certain that the way Cedric kept kind of saying it's not, no, no, no. And then Ricochet being the one and
Right,
only,
right,
it's
right,
like, why don't you come to me? I thought Ricochet was going to turn. And I saw
right.
Ricochet kind of doing, you know, like what Ricky Starks is doing. Kind of being that kind of flashy, kind of overconfident guy within the Hurt Business. Really cocky, wearing all the kind of, like, I've seen how Ricochet dresses outside of WWE and all of these kind of high tailored,
Right,
shiny
right, right,
suits
right.
and stuff like that. And I thought,
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
is the
yeah, yeah,
guy they're
yeah,
gonna slide straight into Hurt Business, and he'll be pretty good.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
Of
think
course.
Cedric. I mean, I made my video this morning. And I think I said Cedric needs this more than Ricochet, I would say. Like I said last week
Okay.
as well, I just hope that Apollo just doesn't fall off a cliff now. I think Ricochet
Yeah,
will
yeah,
always
yeah.
be fine because of his talent. I mean, Apollo Crews should be in that same ilk, but
Yeah, yeah. Of
I just
course.
hope he doesn't fall off a cliff,
Yeah,
literally.
there's definitely something. Ricochet just has that little bit more of an it factor than Apollo does. So as much as
Yeah,
Apollo's
yeah.
got amazing ability, and you can argue that both of them kind of, it's been argued many times that both of them probably need to work on their maybe their mic
Mic
skills,
skills.
charisma, stuff like that. But at the same time, there's just something little bit more about Ricochet than Apollo, for you to worry more about Apollo than you
I
would
think at any
Ricochet.
point they can make Ricochet a star.
Oh,
At
of
any
course.
point, it
Oh,
won't
of
even need
course.
any
Oh,
build.
of course.
They could just do
Of
it. It's like
course.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
today
yeah.
we're gonna
Oh,
wake
for
up and this
sure.
guy's gonna win something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
with Apollo, he's had a really good run with the US title. He lost it. He looked quite angry when he lost it. They haven't seemed to have capitalized on that just yet. I know the Hurt Business is probably still going to go back and forth with these guys a bit more. Mustafa Ali's probably going to come into the fray now and fill the position that Alexander's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. That's
vacated.
true. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, the Hurt Business just looking really good, really dominant. Just want to see what they're going to go on and do now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we've got Bobby Lashley as the United States champion. Whether that then involves someone else from the outside now, as opposed to Apollo, is yet to be seen. I can't even think of anyone who could at the moment.
Could do what? Challenge Bobby Lashley
Yeah. I can't think of anyone that kind of fits it right now. Obviously, they can bring it anyone, you know what I mean, and just start something from anywhere. But
from anywhere. I think Bobby Lashley does need to. Well, it depends how long this Drew Randy Orton feud. Keith Lee's pretty much in that feud now as well. So it depends how much that's gonna last. Bobby Lashley does need to, as he's being called the CEO of Hurt Business, he needs to return to that main event scene, challenging for the big one. And maybe free up the US title for the likes of Cedric Alexander and these other guys. Andrade, obviously, he's kind of had a split with Garza this past week on Raw as well, so maybe he's going to return to that US title scene. But there's a couple other guys as well. Aleister Black, they're doing something new with. Kevin Owens isn't doing much at all. So
yeah.
There's people there.
They just seem to WWE just seem to be splitting up everyone right now. To be honest, it's like this whole of I've heard talk of this new era or whatever else, and it just seems to be the split era because
I think like
it's crazy.
It's like all of a sudden they've realized that heel turns can be quite cool. And now that everyone's just becoming a bad guy, like being a good guy doesn't pay. So
yeah, for sure. You know, because we've had, as you said, Andrade and Angel Garza kind of splitting up, or signs of, if it hasn't, not official really, but we can see it happening. Obviously then the Iconics, Peyton Royce and
Billy Kay.
Billy Kay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's how that she's gonna be forgotten about, bro. That's scary. That's scary.
Is. I didn't like that at all.
And they had a match as well yesterday, and obviously Peyton Royce won. So that kind of tells you how that's gonna go as well. And and obviously the newest one, the biggest one, is Sasha and Bailey. We're finally seeing it. But then at the same time, that kind of, again, was a little bit out of nowhere. And almost to, not quite make sense. I'm glad it's happening. But I don't know whether the specific way it happened makes sense.
So, in my brain, Bailey basically pulled the trigger on this because she knows she's probably going to have to defend a title at Clash of Champions. She's ran through the whole SmackDown division, leaving Sasha Banks as the only possible competitor she hasn't beaten. So she has decided to turn on her before. Now that's me, filling in the blanks that WWE probably didn't give us. I think something needed to happen, like maybe a number one contendership tournament on the women's, like that could have happened on this show this week. The women are fighting, knocking off each other to see who's going to face Bailey at Clash of Champions, and Sasha maybe got as far as the final, and before the final took place, Bailey just takes her out, just so Sasha can't compete in the final, so she can't even reach the final, so she won't have to fight Bailey. I just think it's like, well, they had the tag team match and then she got beaten up by her best friend afterwards. Like, we all saw it coming. There had to still be an element of why is it gonna happen, like, and we didn't really get that.
I think there was something that was posted on WWE's Instagram. It's like a little vignette of Sasha Banks, or the little moment Sasha Banks has given Bailey daggers, kind of subtle, looking at the belt or looking at her and all that kind of stuff. And I think it said something along the lines of maybe Bailey saw this video, or maybe Bailey saw this coming, or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on SmackDown, whether she mentions the fact that she's getting in there before Sasha gets her.
Okay, yeah.
It would be nice for that to happen. It's not really something that we've seen before, because it's usually whoever's been given the daggers, then they eventually do something. We've never really seen someone kind of go for it, anticipating someone else coming for them.
Yeah.
So that would be nice. But I'd still be surprised if that was the story that they go with. So I'm not completely sure where this is going in terms of the very specific story. But at the same time, we're getting Sasha versus Bailey. I don't know. Like it's a tough one, bro.
Yeah,
It's a
I
tough
think
one.
unfortunately they've missed for me what could have been a key story beat before this beatdown has happened. Like something should have happened that we visibly saw as viewers to spark off Bailey thinking like I say, if there was a tournament or something and she's watching on the screen backstage and she's thinking, Sasha's progressing, like she's gonna get to the final, like now I need
Right,
to
right,
run
right,
out
right,
and go
right.
do, like I just feel something
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like it was a
yeah,
bit
yeah,
too
yeah.
random. And I mean,
Yeah.
going forward, the feud deserves a WrestleMania spot, in my opinion. I mean, we've passed SummerSlam. The question is, or the problem is, WrestleMania is still
It's
pretty
far away.
far off.
Very far away. Very far away. There's Clash of Champions, of course, and I think we're going to see that. It doesn't mean that that would be the end of it either. Obviously, then we've still got, Survivor Series probably wouldn't be, because obviously we usually get now the champion versus champion type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll maybe
What,
see maybe Royal Rumble, but
Sasha Banks Royal Rumble win?
mate, please. because that should have happened last year.
Please.
Because that should have happened last year. That should have happened last year. If it wasn't for that injury, that knee injury, bro, that was my prediction. My prediction was Drew McIntyre and Sasha Banks.
I mean, if we get a Royal Rumble this year of Big E and Sasha Banks winning, it's like the gods of wrestling have turned or something.
Bro, I do a podcast every single day and just say the same thing. I knew it. I told you so. Yes, you know what I mean. But
I think,
who knows?
obviously, this month we've got Clash of Champions. Maybe next month we can get Hell in a Cell, Bailey versus Sasha, the Hell in a Cell. It deserves it, kind of, at this point. In the last couple of years, we kind of just get thrown Hell in a Cell matches, which aren't really heated feuds, but this probably deserves it. But to kind of maintain everything, Bailey would have to win to kind of push the story further down the line. Because I don't think they're just going to give us the blow off to this feud in terms of a Sasha win on just any kind of pay-per-view. It's going to have to be Royal Rumble or WrestleMania at this point. But yeah, I still think we're months off. Like, people are saying, obviously she got a hostile beatdown. Is she gonna be off TV until Royal Rumble? I'm like, mate, you guys have put Sasha on every show because she's brilliant. Like, how are you gonna now keep her off TV until Royal Rumble? Like, I mean, the story might dictate that, but like, your ratings might say otherwise.
This is true. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that. Well, to be fair, I don't know if it would make sense for Bailey to face someone random at Clash of Champions just to fill the spot because she has to defend it. Blah blah blah.
There's Naomi.
Or whether
Naomi
it is
did
gonna
pin
be
her
Sasha.
the other day.
Very true. Very true.
But then that's only 1 month. It's only 1 month.
And that's long enough. It's long enough, but then you continue the feud, and then it goes over more than one pay-per-view. It would have to, innit?
Yeah.
And it's not going to end at their first encounter. It's definitely not going to end at their first encounter. It would be very silly if it was.
We have 4 pay-per-views before Royal Rumble. Now, not even saying that Bailey has to be on every single one of them, but again, she's been a prominent character. It's a fact that every time in the last 3 months Bailey and Sasha have been on TV, the ratings have spiked. Albeit still being low for WWE standards, the ratings have spiked. So how are they going to keep these guys apart or away from each other and not on TV is... I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's what makes me think, maybe have they pulled the trigger too early on this?
I'm feeling the same way, but at the same time, I'm also thinking, how else would you have longed it out? You know what I mean? It could have happened a lot earlier. There was space and time for it to happen a lot earlier, but for me, it should have been something that happened at SummerSlam. We said this from ages ago. It should have happened at SummerSlam. It didn't.
That was the initial plan.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's tough to predict, which is a very good thing. Which is a very, very good thing, that it's tough to predict. It's yeah, it's kind of like these splits are happening and these other things are forming, and it's kind of you're giving us what we want, but it's in this way that it's not making sense. Even let's go even to Roman Reigns, for example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're giving us the heel turn that we've been asking for God knows how many years, but it's kind of it's not convincing. It's a little bit.
It's not blatant right now. It's not blatant like that. He's a heel. He might just be being like a somber kind of guy, but it's not blatant right now that he's turned heel. Apart from the low blow that he gave the Fiend at what was that last pay-per-view, Payback. That's really the only kind of heel thing he's done. I think obviously you saw my post on Instagram in regards to my two
of course
possible scenarios. I think what WWE will probably go with is Jey Uso getting beaten up, literally completely annihilated by his cousin Roman Reigns. But I think there is more stock in making him a heel by they walk into the ring already at Clash of Champions and Jey Uso lies down.
Some Kevin Nash NWO thing.
You remember the finger poke of doom? Like literally, just he lies down. Everyone's like, "What?" He pins him. He helps up Jey Uso. They're greeting, spudding each other. Like,
do you think WWE at this point in this moment would be brave enough to do that?
I think they should. I think they could. I think don't put it in the main event. Leave the main event to be Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. Because if they put it in the main event, people are gonna be vexed. But maybe that's what it takes as well. I don't know. Like or maybe, like you're saying, he hasn't done anything blatant to become a heel. Maybe they want something slow, like a slow burn, and then he does something outrageous. Because obviously this is still very new to Roman. This is very new to everyone, us experiencing him as a heel. Maybe they want to tell the story more of Paul Heyman helping him just learn how to do things easier. You know, he went and joined a world title match in the middle of the match. He didn't even start from the beginning. Yeah. So it's like maybe Paul Heyman.
How do you walk out and sign a contract and then
for a match that's already begun?
Anyway.
So maybe Paul Heyman, the story they're trying to convey is Paul Heyman showing him, look, we don't have to be doing all this hard work and being the guy that turns up every week, blah, blah, blah. Be a bit more laid back. Be a bit more like Brock Lesnar, essentially. And I'll help you navigate through everything. Yeah. Maybe that's what they want to do rather than, that Roman's kind of getting himself out there. But I think a finger poke of doom would be amazing.
And I think in the reality of, Roman Reigns' condition, the whole thing with COVID going on and stuff like that, I think it would actually then make sense that he's not, he doesn't necessarily have to be there every single week. Definitely not in a match every single week or whatever else. He's backstage, his distance from everyone and all that kind of stuff. Which would make a lot more sense.
It would. I think there might start being complaints and comparisons to too much like Brock if he wasn't at least there in like backstage segments, and then he shows up at a pay-per-view and does his thing. I think that's fine. He's the world champion, so I think that's fine. But if he wasn't there at all, the Brock calls are gonna start coming.
That would definitely be a problem. That would definitely be a problem. I mean, I get it. Roman with the title is, obviously something that we wanted to see. Again, the way it's happened is a little bit questionable. Jey Uso getting a chance is great for Jey Uso.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, kind of out of nowhere. I don't know where it goes.
They just have to cheat. Honestly, like they just have to do it because it's like Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns got him this slot in this match. So if they play it out like they basically got him this slot, obviously he used good fortune, he won it, and then he kind of just lays down. It's all to preserve Roman as champion. Like, right. I can't see a way that's more heelish than doing something like that. I mean, Jey Uso's not exactly. People like him, of course. People love the Usos, but he's not exactly Daniel Bryan to say that if Roman Reigns bloodied him, people are gonna hate Roman Reigns. You see what I mean?
Right.
People feel sorry for him, but it's like he's not if he was that level of character like a Daniel Bryan, then people will be like, yeah, I hate you, Roman, blah blah blah. But I think Jey Uso's probably still tolling on the line a bit more. So just help him cheat, help your cousin keep the title. Like, well, not come on, your family. Like,
yeah, that's true. Also on SmackDown, we saw Big E was attacked by Sheamus.
I hated this crap. I'm sorry.
Tell me why. Tell me your view on this.
Because why? I mean, that's ultimately it. Like, yes, they've been feuding the past couple of weeks. Sheamus has taken him out the match. Jey Uso has stepped into the place, and we've seen that story play out. So, okay, fair enough. But like, now, why? Like, where does Big E come back into the fray? All he's gonna do now is have a singles feud with Sheamus.
If I'm honest, I don't mind that. Because remember, I was saying, I was saying how I don't really want that, the Big E to skyrocket to the main event and all that kind of thing.
I agree.
So, a feud with, I mean, it's maybe questionable that it's Sheamus, maybe, I don't know. But at the same time, obviously, Sheamus has accolades and all the rest of it for him to be a formidable enough guy to beat and have a feud with. And then you move on to the next person, and then maybe to
Baron Corbin, probably.
More than likely. And then you move on to the World Championship, but or even the IC if it comes to that. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. It's cool. It means that there's a little bit more longevity in Big E's rise. So I don't mind it at all. It's like I said, it's questionable that it's Sheamus, and I'll be like, well, is Sheamus really now a formidable enough guy to to raise your stock with? But then SmackDown right now.
Yeah,
Big E would have to beat himself to really, for me to feel as if he's doing something
to impress. Yeah. I think I think last week I suggested that when they announced that this match is going to happen, that Big E goes on to face Roman and then gets beaten up, completely beaten up. Now, it just came to my head now. Maybe if we say we're at Clash of Champions and it was Big E versus Roman, since they've got Jey Uso involved, Jey Uso could have come in and caused some type of interruption. Big E could have went off into a feud with Jey Uso, who, with obviously the New Day and the Usos, he's got immense history with.
Of course.
That could have probably bought them a bit more time. I mean, I understand everything you've said, to be honest, and it makes sense. Maybe for me, Sheamus just isn't an interesting enough character in the grand scheme of things. Maybe that's what it is for me. But yeah, I don't think Big E should be like near the championship per se. And if he does, I think he needs to get beaten severely and build himself up again, sort of thing. I think he needs to have a couple of high profile losses to the champion before he gets the big win. And maybe that is still down the line and not to happen quite yet.
Yeah, as I said, because of how SmackDown is and the landscape of SmackDown at the moment, it's difficult to see how and where this all goes for him to then rise to the main event. Who's next? As you said, Baron Corbin, roll eyes. You know, I mean, as much as I'm a fan of Baron Corbin, it's kind of like there's this stale position that he's in at the minute.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like he's like the boss before the boss.
Yeah, I don't think they use him right. Like, I like Baron as well, but they just don't use him correctly.
Yeah, it's just not working for me. It's like I said, it's very stale and in the wrong place. And then you've got, I mean, AJ Styles has been off TV for a little. I mean, he came back on Friday, I think it was. But yeah, the IC position, that isn't, throw Biggie into that, and you're thinking, well, Biggie should beat everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's difficult to see what the progressions are going to be in that respect. But yeah, it's happening. It's
got to be the Royal Rumble.
It needs to be.
It's got to be.
I'm not even going to think, because I'm getting too excited just thinking about it, because I'll lose myself, because even with when Drew McIntyre won, I don't even know if you were following me, following my page then. But when
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre won, like I've done this long story on my IG. I was like, yeah, I told you. You know what I mean? I got excited, bro. So if that was Big E,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do. But yeah, I think it kind of has to be longed out to get to there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the rumors and the little fan art graphics of Roman versus Big E at WrestleMania. Yeah, I'm getting too excited. Let's not even talk about it. I'm getting too excited. I don't want to get too excited, bro, because you know what I mean. I'm gonna be let down. It's the fear of being let down.
Not. Yeah, I hear that, but hopefully not this time round.
Yeah, for sure. Let's touch on something that you spoke about last week. A prediction that you made when you chose your superstar of the week. But at the same time, there's still a possibility.
It was a
there's
week
still
early.
A possibility, exactly. There's still a possibility it could happen. So your superstar of the week last week was Finn Balor, with the prediction that he would be the one to win that Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match. Of course, it ended up being him and Adam Cole getting 2 falls each. So both of them now will meet each other tonight, which is Tuesday. We're filming this on Tuesday. So it'll be tonight. They face each other for the vacant NXT Championship. I'm guessing your prediction is exactly the same, because we did say it was either Finn or Ciampa. Ciampa's not in the mix. Yeah. So
I think they've almost given us this as a given that, you know. I mean, I've seen some people even say that Pat McAfee's going to come out and cause Adam Cole to lose or whatever the case is. But I think if they were going to do this finish, why wouldn't they have gone with Finn Balor and Ciampa as the two to fight next week?
Yeah, that's true.
Because I didn't know that NXT was going to be on another Tuesday. So I thought this was a one and done sort of thing. So that's why I feel so convinced that Finn Balor's going to win. Like, if they knew that this was going to happen again, why wouldn't it have been Ciampa and Finn Balor? Then that would have really, made me sweat thinking, is Finn Balor actually going to win or something?
And I think it's just a bigger match in general.
Yeah, we haven't seen that, I don't think.
Yeah,
we've seen Adam Cole and Balor.
Yeah, we've seen Adam Cole and Balor before. I think we've seen Ciampa and Balor. I can't remember. But as much as Adam Cole obviously had the championship for however many days, it just doesn't feel big enough for me. I don't know what that is. It's maybe because the return of Ciampa just has more stuck to it than Adam Cole trying to get back his championship, especially after his last match was with Pat McAfee. As great as that match was, it's Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He's not an active wrestler. He's and all the rest of it. So
I think I saw someone online saying that basically it's the two longest serving NXT champions, and that's why.
And you can run with that, but
yeah, for me, Ciampa had to be the guy if they were really going to do this finish. And then you're really thinking who's going to win out of the two. But because Adam Cole has obviously just held it for such a long time, there's surely no way they're going to put it back on him. Like, to do what? To face who? Like, I think it's got to be Finn Balor at this point.
Yeah, it has to be Finn. Like, as we've said before, he needs it more than any of the four that were in the match. Ciampa was definitely probably a close second in terms of it making sense for him to win. It's got to be Finn. I'd be surprised and a little upset.
I'll be vexed and underwhelmed if it's Adam Cole. As much as I love Adam Cole, like, literally, I'm in my house doing baby every other second. But
of course.
As much as I love him, like, I will be vexed and underwhelmed if it is Adam Cole to win this thing again after such a long time carrying.
Yeah. And that's the thing. For me, it was his run was okay, it was fine, but it did kind of get to this place where I was like, okay, right, just let's change the champion now. So for him to then pick it up again, I'd be like, nah. Surely it's got to be Finn. It's got to be Finn. Yeah.
And like we said, he actually needs it, like, because otherwise he's just going to continue doing what exactly in NXT.
I mean, yeah. You mentioned last week as well how obviously before lockdown, before the COVID strike and all the rest of it, the plan was for him to face Walter.
Yeah.
For NXT UK Championship. I believe he probably would have won that.
That would have been brilliant to see.
Yeah, to give NXT UK that little bit more stock as well.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing. I think that would have been great. So, unfortunately for him, he kind of did end up in a place of limbo because of, you know what I mean, because of that, really, more than anything else. But I think it does just make sense, again, because there's no champion involved now. It just makes sense for Finn to win it.
Having said that, though, NXT UK is coming back within the next 2 weeks.
It is, yeah. It is.
And I mean, I still can't see them putting this title on Adam Cole, but especially with all the exits NXT UK have had around the speaking out thing, maybe they are still looking at a big boost, like someone like Finn Balor to win it, to put eyes back on it, because obviously it hasn't been on TV and that.
Would it then be even better if Finn goes there, face up to Walter as the NXT champion?
Yes, it would be 100%. But then at the same time, we don't need another belt. Two champion and all this kind of stuff. So,
yeah. The two champ. Yeah.
If they just had the match, I guess that'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be decent. But
they'd have to fight for something, though. That's the
thing. That's the thing. So.
You couldn't have a champion versus champion and to that of that profile, and it just be a champion versus champion match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ideally, their belts need to be on the line.
Yeah. Oh god, that means now there's a possibility that Adam Cole wins, and then because talking of NXT UK, who is there to face Walter?
Yeah, exactly. Like all the guys that would. I mean, the last guy that I think gave Walter a run for his money was Ridge Holland, and he's on NXT Prime now, the main show. So no one else. Pete Dunne and all of them, man, they are above, I would say, the NXT UK title. I wouldn't mind Pete Dunne having a second run at all, but I think he needs to kick on, though. Personally, like.
I think so, but with the restrictions of traveling and all that kind of stuff, I think it would make sense for Pete Dunne to kind of, you know what I mean, come straight in as, you know, a strong contender, at least, if not the number one contender.
He could easily do that, but the question is, he wouldn't win, though. I don't think he would win. Like, I don't think there's any point putting the belt back on Pete Dunne. Like, ideally, as a fan, I want to see him move forward. So, and putting the belt back on him might hold him there for longer than it needs to. I mean, like we say, there's not much movement right now anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, but then you've got, who else is there? There's Joe Coffey.
But you know what? At the same time, Walter doesn't want to move to the US.
No, he doesn't.
So
he has no desire.
He's got like a ceiling for himself. Like
Right.
Don't know. Joe Coffey's a good shout.
I think Joe Coffey's a good shout. I don't know. I don't know if they would have to build it again. They'd have to build him again a little bit.
Yeah.
For it to make sense, because around the time him and Pete Dunne had their match for the NXT UK Championship, I really thought Joe Coffey was going to win. I thought that would have made sense at the time. It would have been.
I didn't think he would win. I knew Pete would retain, but I was impressed by his showing. He was convincing that he was a contender. Yeah.
It was strong. And the only other person you've got is Tyler Bate.
Oh, my guy. I love Tyler Bate. Like
Tyler Bate, it's not a bad shout either.
Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when NXT UK returns. even the tag division have kind of been building that a little bit as well in terms of
Mm-hmm.
vignettes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of NXT UK, which starts again in a few weeks. Time is going. We have a few minutes or about 15 minutes left of the show. Let us do the hardest part of our week, as I say every week, and try and choose our star of the week. We would actually usually kind of discuss this before the show, but we didn't. We haven't discussed anything at all before the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Technical difficulties and all the rest of it. So, as always, I'm putting you in the firing line first.
Today I'm not having it. I have a prediction again that I'm going to take your star of the week this week.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay. Go for it.
I'm actually throwing you the ball and I'm letting you go first. I want to hear yours, just in case I nick yours.
Oh man, it's a very tough one. It's a very, very, very tough one, and I haven't chosen, and I don't know who to choose.
Really? All right.
I'm really struggling.
Okay, I'm gonna do mine.
You go for it. Go for it.
So by the end of the weekend, by Sunday, my star of the week, I knew who he was gonna pick, 100%.
Okay.
Obviously, after watching the show this past Monday, another name popped up into the hat. So I'm gonna do something unprecedented and give it to a couple.
Oh, here we go.
Cedric Alexander and Big Swole. Those are my stars of the week. Big Swole, I was threatening, like I was getting in the match for the past 3 weeks. Like, is Big Swole gonna beat Britt Baker? Like, she needs to win this. Right. Don't just give it to Britt Baker. Plus, she's coming back from injury. Swole showed up in their little comedy cinematic match. It wasn't maybe the match we all thought we were gonna get.
Right.
But I think it left Swole in a place that, Britt Baker is essentially the top of the women's division, which might be disrespectful to the likes of Shida, who's actually carrying the championship. But Britt Baker is a big asset for AEW.
Massive.
She's been, Swole has been hanging around with Britt Baker in their feud for the past couple of weeks and has done great work. And I think it was punctuated by this win that she got at All Out. So Swole is one of my stars of the week. Like I said, it's going to be a couple.
Okay.
And
so,
of course,
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna steal Cedric Alexander from you.
Go for it.
Because as you know, I'm sure you're gonna echo exactly the same thing. This heel turn, I think for me is very much needed for Cedric to kind of give him that boost again, to put him back in the fore, and obviously we'll now see him. As much as we have seen him often in the last month or so, we'll now see him in a much more prominent position. A much more relevant position as well. More than anything, he's going to be a lot more relevant instead of just being part of a little feud or a big part of a feud that's going on with Apollo and the Hurt Business. And it's nice that it's those two. Of course, Big Swole and Cedric Alexander are husband and wife in real life. For those that don't know, if anyone saw my earlier post from today on my story. Big Swole was very complimentary of her husband joining.
She's been calling for this for a while, She's been tweeting for the longest, that he should turn heel.
She's vocal on Twitter. She's vocal on Twitter, very, very much so. And I've seen those tweets, so I know she's ecstatic that it's now, it's now happening. And she was saying how, finally her husband's come out of catering.
The catering business.
Out of catering business, now in the Hurt Business. So that's amazing. It's funny how he's come out of the catering business and she was involved in an incident on Dynamite with pizza.
It's true.
I mean, that's funny. That's a little bit of a joke in itself. But to see those two, as a husband and wife team, kind of be. One, our stars of the week, and two, prominent enough to be our stars of the week is great. The Johnsons, as they are, in real life, they are the Johnsons. Johnson Mania. I'm gonna throw that in there again. That's what they used when that was their hashtag when they got married.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nice to see those two doing their thing, and I'm really excited for both of them, but more so Swole. Now that she's got that big win, and it's a huge win in terms of the women's division. I think she was before that match. She was number 3 on the
In the
list
rankings.
in the rankings. I don't know whether that's moved her up or down or whatever else, but she was number 3, and I think she can now be a very very much viable
Yeah.
contender for the AEW Women's Championship as well now. So I'm excited for her. Definitely, she deserves it. She's worked her socks off in the last year or so.
Yeah.
She's been absolutely amazing in terms of raising her stock, her charisma, and all of that stuff. And even her little showing with Little Swole in the tag team tournament.
What is Little Swole? I was going to ask you this during the week. What's her real name? What's her like?
So Little Swole is Nicole Savoy.
I thought so. I was thinking when I saw her on screen, I was thinking, isn't this?
Yeah, that's Nicole Savoy, better known as Nicole Savoy, as a very very good technical wrestler, bro. Very very good suplex machine, stuff like that. She was in a trio with Shayna Baszler and Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah. Where was that? Shimmer.
Yeah,
Was that
Shimmer?
Shimmer?
Yeah, that would have been Shimmer. Yeah, I think it was Shimmer, if not Shine. One of those two, definitely one of those two. And she was. I think it was Shimmer, but she was Shimmer champion for a very long time as well. Nicole Savoy. So yeah, Big Swole, Little Swole, and now Big Cedric. You know what I mean? Like,
Big Cedi.
I want to see what Big Ced does from now. It's going to be.
You know what? It's been
very
too. It's been too long where the likes of Cedric Alexander, Apollo Crews, people of that ilk, they just get called, the wrestler that you can have good matches with, and that's all they ever get known for. And this is, I think, not make or break necessarily for Cedric, but this is like the chance now, like kind of like a golden ticket. The fans got him to the dance of WWE. If you remember back to the Cruiserweight Classic,
of course,
he got his push. He became Cruiserweight champion. And then after that, and when he moved to main roster, it hasn't really come alight for him until about now, really, when he's been involved in his Hurt Business stuff, and now obviously joining the Hurt Business. I was previously told that he had a brilliant heel run in the past on Ring of Honor. I've never seen it or anything, but that's correct. So I'm hoping to see that side of him now with the Hurt Business. But yeah, I wish him all the best. Like I say, Big Swole, my star of the week. You nicked Cedric Alexander's side of it from me. So yeah, those two deserve it definitely this past week.
And I think going back to talking about Cedric and that heel run, we have seen elements of a more aggressive Cedric when him and Mustafa Ali were feuding quite a lot. He was getting frustrated with what was going on, and couldn't really get a win and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. So we saw that. So yeah, as I said earlier today, that he's definitely the more aggressive of him, Apollo and Ricochet. So I think him in the Hurt Business can only be a good thing. It now comes down to what WWE really want to do with the Hurt Business. And with MVP's influence, and we're talking kind of, as a producer, not necessarily MVP, the character in the Hurt Business. We're talking about MVP as the producer. I think, and I'm hoping it's gonna come good. More so, probably even more so for Cedric than the rest of them in the long run. I see that. As much as Bobby Lashley can go to the main event scene, I think there's just going to be something, because he's younger. I just see more.
That's exactly it
for Cedric than anyone else. And we said about the whole Randy Orton in Evolution. Whether it's on to that height, we don't know. But he's definitely that guy who may end up turning on them, or they turn on him, or whatever it is. So that's going to be super interesting to see.
One thing about that thing, just before we close off, I really liked Shelton Benjamin kind of sticking it on him and being like, boy, this better not be a
forgot about
game, because it makes sense. All of
Yeah,
a sudden, you know, he got beaten up minutes before he turned. So it's like, it needed someone. I think that was a really good touch by Shelton Benjamin. Like, you know, this better not be a game, otherwise I'll deal with you myself, sort of thing. Like, and then obviously during the VIP lounge, Cedric kind of stated that, yeah, you know, this isn't a game. I've come here to win and to earn more and all of that kind of stuff. So it was a really kind of good thing they added in.
So he's definitely on it. And again, it's going to be interesting and exciting to see what happens with both Big Swole and Cedric as our stars of the week, and as husband and wife. It's crazy. They're husband and wife, and they're you know,
they both had good
weeks. Nice, man. It's nice. Yeah, for sure. Right, good people. We have come to the end of our show. As always, you can see us on YouTube. You're probably watching it when it comes on YouTube, and you're hearing me saying this again. But YouTube on Wednesday, on AffinityExtra.com on a Thursday at 12 o'clock GMT. That is like 7 o'clock EST in America, and it gets repeated again later on in the day. You'll see the information on the Black Wrestling Alliance Instagram page. You can also, as always, follow Mex on WrestleManiac UK on Instagram, on Twitter, and make sure you check out this show on his YouTube channel, not mine. His. If you go to mine, you won't see anything. You probably will see an interview with Trisha Dora, Harley Dead, and
Pineapple Pete, isn't it?
Deep, but you know, that's not me bragging. I'm just saying, you know, it all happened in the space of 2 days. But anyway,
it's normal.
Folks, thanks for joining us. Everyone on IG, thanks for joining us. I acknowledge you again. Well done. And we'll see you again next time. Peace.
Cool. Take care, guys.